of that orchestra. Good morning. He's agreed to talk with us over that. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Dodson. Thanks for having me. It's a great privilege.
All right. Well, a lot of people, the experts felt the thing was so important and timely that they decided to have an editorial done, and that was the editorial in the Express on Saturday, taking up from the Steelband's advocacy on this and saying that they support the idea that there should be safety declared first and acknowledged and assured before any attempt to restart operations there.
Yeah, I think your viewers would appreciate, the timelines here.
Yes.
The Niquan plant, which is our gas to liquids plant, was opened in March last year, 2021, by the Prime Minister.
Yes.
By April 7th, which was just a few weeks after the plant was first started, there was a massive explosion at the plant. Some residents described it as a sonic boom. Someone said it thought a bomb had dropped. People as far as Labre heard the explosion, and you would know, Mr. Johnson, being a Southman himself, how far Labre is from Pointe-à-Pierre.
Yes.
That happened on the 7th of April, 2021. When that happened, 3 agencies, statutory agencies, got involved or said that they would get involved, right? One was the Environmental Management Authority, which on the very day of the explosion said that they will conduct an assessment and so on of the environmental impact and at the site of the incident and so on, right? Since that, a diligent online search revealed no information from the EMA's website on that issue. On the next day, April the 8th, 2021, the OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Agency, issued a statement saying that they immediately dispatched a team of inspectors to initiate an investigation and so on, and they are in the process of collecting information. This is the only mention of the event on the OSHA website. The Ministry of Energy also established an investigative unit, which was headed by Mr. Craig Bulu, senior petroleum engineer. Now, all this thing was done on the day or the day after the explosion in April the 7th, 2021.
Yes.
Up to today, there has been no report that has been published. I am not saying there has no report because I do not know if a report was submitted to the company and so on, right? But no report has been published. And from what the Ministry of Energy said when they established this, is a 6-person report, seems to have been made up of public servants, right? What they had said is that the mandate of the team that is investigating what had happened on that day, there were 5 criteria laid down. One was to establish the facts of why there was an explosion. The other was to conduct a thorough investigation as to the contributing factors to determine the root causes of the explosion. Then they were mandated to review the adequacy of existing controls and procedures and to make recommendations which could reduce further future risks and prevent recurrences. And then obviously to prepare a final report, right? The ministry received a preliminary report on the 14th of April 2021, which is a week after the explosion, and an interim report dated the 1st of June 2021. That is all well and good, and the timeline seemed to have been going well then. But up to now, which is between June the 1st and today, which is what, 8 months? Not a single report has been published, either by the EMA, by the OSHA, or by the ministry. So that we are in the heart of Marbella, the Southern Marine Steelband Foundation. We are about 400 meters away from the Pointe-à-Pierre refinery, where the Niquan plant is located. And Marbella is a place that has thousands of residents, hundreds and hundreds of workers who work in the area, and a lot of people have to pass through the area because of this southern road on one side and the highway on the other. So we think in terms of the safety and security of the people of Marabella, the workers and the visitors and so on, that this report or these reports need to be published so that people can, take in what the report is saying, can question it and so on, can study the report to see if it was properly done. And we are also calling for a consultation or, in modern parlance, a town meeting between the authorized investigative agencies together with Niquan and inviting the people of Marabella, whoever are interested and so on, to have a discussion as to what is the status of this thing and to try to convince the residents that restarting the plant would be safe and so on and not a danger to their security. Niquan had said that the plant, they had given 3 dates for the plant opening. The last date for the restarting of the plant, that said, was first quarter, 2022. We are in the first quarter. In fact, the first quarter is supposed to come to an end at the end of this month. So we are making these 2 calls, and we are saying that if those calls are not demanded, we are calling on the people of Marabella and indeed on the people of Trinidad and Tobago to stand with the people of Marabella and insist that no restarting is done unless the report or reports are published and a discussion is held or a consultation is held between the authorized agencies, the company itself, and the residents of Marabella. We have a panyard that could hold any kind of consultation like that. It is roomy enough and so on. So these are the demands that we are making. 2 calls, right? Publish the reports for everybody to see and hold a discussion with the people of Marabella explaining why this thing is safe and secure to be opened. That is as simple as we can put it. 2 calls. They are making those demands. We think they are reasonable demands.
Right. With the issue, for me and other people who look at it, it's a very positive move that the Steel Orchestra sort of taken up this activism in this matter. Why is that the case? How come you all are so out front? Because in the beginning,
we are Southern Marines is an institution in Marabella.
Yes.
It has always been a Marabella steel band. It is the oldest existing steel band in the Greater San Fernando area. It has been established since 1946. Right? Yes. We are on the main road, the Southern Main Road. We are based on the Southern Main Road. Many of our players come from the Marabella and surrounding areas like Pleasance Park, Gasparillo, Vista Bella, and so on, which are all going to be affected if any unsafe restart is contemplated. And I think that we have, a duty. I'll tell you something. We really were made aware of their plans to restart at the end of the first quarter through the Express. The Express ran 2 stories, one in December and one maybe about 10 days ago or less, that spoke about the plan of the company to restart at the end of March, and that triggered some concern, at least among the members of the band who saw what was happening, and it caused us to go and do some research and so on, and then we came up with this position. So I think it is our duty, as a steel band in Marabella and representing a lot of people who live in Marabella and surrounding areas, I think it's our duty to take up an issue like this because we haven't seen, except for the Express, and we must give the Express some tips for that, have taken up the issue, and we think it is a necessary issue to take up because this thing is a danger to life and limb, to security and safety of the people in the area, So that I think that explains why we get involved with this kind of thing, which is not normal, I suppose, for a steel man.
Yeah, and when you put it against the latest incident in the waters there, it is as though in the powerful industry in Marabella, there's a kind of jinx around it as we speak, and then again the residents Because we'd spoken with some young men who were saying, well, when the company was starting up its operations, and other groups of residents were trying to make connections with the company, this Niquan, to see to what extent they will engage with people in the community, and that wasn't happening. So the question is whether or not there's been any more. I've been trying to stay on the issue from back then, and the company sort of put a lot of that community relations into the hands of a media organization, well, a PR organization, which was headed by one of my former seniors in media. But shortly after that, he said to me that, well, the contract with Niquan was either suspended or something like that. So we don't know what the situation is with their commitment to engage with the community at all.
Well, I could make a comment on that. Most of the information coming out of Niquan that we have come across, right, came from one Mr. Malcolm Wells, right, who is listed as a Vice President of Corporate Affairs, right? Mr. Wells is not even based in Trinidad. Mr. Wells is based in the USA because Niquan is a company, Niquan Energy is a company that is registered in the United States, I think in the Washington area, and their largest shareholder of Niquan Trinidad and Tobago is Niquan Energy, which is an American company. Mr. Wells, who is the Vice President of Corporate Affairs, he's based in the USA, right?
Yes.
In April last year, after the explosion, he said that the impact assessment is ongoing and so on, right? And operations will not resume until the authorized investigations have been completed and recommendations implemented, right? In September, a few months later, he said, we have completed the root cause assessment and implemented all the recommendations, and we are now realigning the business track with a view to being in full production by the end of the year. The end of the year then would have been December 2021. That date came and went, but the tone of the statement suggests that the investigations were completed and that the recommendations were implemented. So if the investigation is completed and recommendations were implemented, then we are saying, well, publish the bloody report so that everybody could see it. We don't know if he is referring to an internal Niquan investigation or to the authorized investigations, right? That date came and went. In December, Niquan issued the following statement. Once all safety measures have been implemented and accepted by Niquan's engineer of record, the plant will be brought back up to full commercial operation. The target date for that accomplishment is now set for first quarter 2022. So what this tells us is that there has been, the investigation has been completed. Niquan is saying the safety measures have been implemented and they have said it is being accepted. It has been accepted by Niquan's engineer of record. So it implies that Niquan's engineer of record will decide when the plant is restarted and not the authorized state agency. So that if your investigation is completed and so on, and you and Niquan have exchanged your information, and Niquan is about to implement or has implemented your recommendations and is about to restart your plant, then you are cutting out people who have a vested interest in whether the plant is started safely and securely, which are the residents and workers and the people who frequent the Marabella area. Yeah. What is the problem if the investigation is completed? What is the problem with publishing the thing? Let everybody in the country see what has been implemented, what has been recommended, and so on. And then hold a discussion with people and, try to soothe their fears and show them that this thing can be started safely and securely. But I have no idea why. I cannot see an investigation like this being just between the authorized investigative agencies and the company and leaving out, the thousands of other people who have an interest in the affair. So I think it's very strange.
Right, and so
what is happening?
So the fact is, from what you're saying, there's been no conscientious effort. One can conclude from the company to strike up any kind of communications channel with communities, with people in the area, with community organizations in the area.
I think that's a fair assessment, Mr. Johnson. I think that's a fair comment. Yeah, because we get these. I shouldn't really say this, but we get these rumors and reports, and people will tell you things that, there are people who are not too pleased that we are pursuing this kind of line and that we must be careful and one sort of rubbish, right? But this is a threat, in our opinion, to the safety and security, and somebody has to take up the cudgel, So we have decided that we would at least raise the issue and build awareness over the issue and hope that other organizations and so on in the area and the people of the area band together and stand firm on this. Otherwise, we are at the mercy of forces that we have no control over. And these forces are supposed at least to have factored in, the interest of the people of Marbella in this whole affair. Because Marbella is a fence line community just outside the fence of the refinery, And people in Marbella have had over the years issues like this before, off and on. At least in the Petrotrin days, the Petrotrin used to show some kind of interest and used to have consultation with the people and so on, and even have compensated people and so on, right? So, we insist that these two calls must be made, the thing must be published, consultation must be had, and if that isn't done, then we are calling on the people of Marbella and surrounding areas and the people of Trinidad and Tobago to insist that the plant not be restarted unless those conditions are met. I think it's straightforward and clear.
And the plant is at the northern end of what I call the Marbella's hip strip. Between the two roundabouts, that's where a lot of...
That's right. That's right. And you have a gas station out there. You have all kinds of things, in the Marbella area. The area is an industrial area and so on. So it's to me rather puzzling, that kind of attitude should be taken up as if this has nothing to do with anybody else except the company and the authorized agency. I think the authorized agencies are supposed to at least factor in the fact that this thing, affects people, outside of the company itself. And authorized agencies like the Ministry of Energy and so on are supposed at least to take into consideration the interests of the people there. It's a government agency, and the government is supposed to be able to secure and safely its people and so on. And I am a little miffed,
Yes.
A little irritated by the whole approach. And if this thing happens within the next couple of weeks, if they do stick to their timeline within the next couple of weeks, there's going to be some discomfort in the area.
All right, so we will continue to watch it and see what transpires. We continue to stay in touch with you as well as to monitor what the company is doing. But Mr. Kangalee, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. John. It's been a great privilege.